Welcome to another team presentation. Today we have the team Queendom Hearts from, hard to say from where, I guess from several cities and countries at the same time, also continents and whatever. They will introduce themselves. Let's just briefly start with Alma, because we'd like Alma to wish good luck to each of the teams so that no one feels that they lack the, the good luck charm. Alma, over to you.
Hello to everyone. It's a big pleasure for us to see your international team today, and thank you for your time. And I wish you all the best in this legal challenge, and I hope it leave you with all good impressions. So
you will see them in Vilnius anyway. So
yeah, I hope to see
regardless of whether or not they end up, number 4, number 5, or number 6.
Yeah.
And of the 3 teams you've spoken to, which team do you think will win?
Oh, Sergey, I can't say now.
I mean, who will watch all 3 videos? You should say this team, and then yeah.
I wish to all the teams to go to the
have a tie, to have like this hard tie. Okay.
Yeah.
Last year, I mean the previous challenge, we had a tie that tied in the judges for over an hour, as they were grappling with which team is the strongest, and they ended up with a solution. I don't know what happens this year. Maybe they end up saying, both teams win. We don't know. We'll see. All the teams are very strong. Okay, thank you, Alma. Now let's talk about the team. So, okay, Daniel.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Choose. Daniel, could you introduce, so I guess you went to the same university as everyone else. So what is that university? Is that the University of Belfast or whatever? And then what are you doing right now? And where?
So basically, myself, Danae, and Emma all went to Queen Mary's, University of London last year. We all studied the LLM in intellectual property law. And basically through that and our interactions with Dr. Demeter, who introduced us to interactive entertainment law, we kind of discovered Vilnius and the Vilnius Legal Challenge. And then we entered it, and we've luckily got through to the semi-finals. Unfortunately, due to COVID, everything's been delayed. So myself, Danae, and Emma have all graduated from Queen Mary's. To do with what I'm doing currently at the moment, I'm working with the UK Intellectual Property Office as a trademark examiner. So I only just recently started that role about 2 months ago. So unfortunately, it's not as video game-esque as I would have liked it to be, but I still get to look at multimedia marks and things to do with basically mostly at shooting games. Sometimes I get a little glimpse in. And I'm still based in London, so I was based in the UK, and that's kind of where I'm up to now, really.
And if you're bored with London, then you're bored with life, or how it goes. Okay.
Yeah, it's not that interesting in the UK at the moment, as you can probably tell with all the news and everything. It's just, from your bedroom to your front room to your remote working environment and repeat, basically.
Well, I mean, yeah, talk to all the people in San Francisco who were paying like hell for all the little apartments in the city that they couldn't live. And did you talk to any earlier participants in the legal challenge? I think we had a few teams from Queen Mary.
Yeah, so we spoke to Alex, who participated, I think, in 2018. He actually got awarded with your award for the best legal argument.
The soccer guy. I don't remember him as the guy who was, I was in and out of the hearing, but I was with him on the legal run, and that guy can run for sure. I mean, he should be disqualified from running in the legal circles at least.
Yeah, so we luckily we interacted with Alex a lot. We also interacted with Mike and Salvo, who also attended the Vilnius Legal Challenge, and luckily that's how we also got to understand the importance of the legal challenge in the video game industry as a whole. And they really actually did sell on everyone doing it, but unfortunately it was just me, Danae, and Emma that got through this year.
Well, the usual disclosure is that normally the people who win end up working as in-house counsels, or most of them, I think all of them ended up working as in-house counsels, and most of them moved to Cyprus. There's one. The first winner, he moved. He's the GC for. I forget the name of the studio, but that studio moved the headquarters to Cyprus. Then the other winner joined as an in-house counsel with Wargaming Kiev, And then eventually she moved to the Nicosia, the Wargaming, and her partner at that time joined, I think it would join Playtix, and then they got a studio. They bought a studio which has an office in Cyprus, so he was offered to move to Cyprus. So that's just like a disclaimer. So if you like don't want to move to Cyprus, don't win. There's still many companies that are based there, so who knows. Good. Okay. So all's good with London, and then over to Danae. What about you?
Hello, my name's Danae. I'm in Barcelona. I'm from here. I moved last year to London to study the LLM, as Daniel said, and currently I'm working at a firm, a medium-sized firm in Barcelona, in the IP and IT department. I have been lucky enough to work in some gaming issues and cases. And yeah, as Daniel said, I mean, we got introduced to the legal challenge by Dr. Dimita and the PhD students that he mentioned. And we're just very excited to finally compete.
What's the reputation of Dimita? Is he a formidable teacher who like throws books at you, or he's actually saying like, hey, you don't want to end up working in the trademark office or go for the video games?
Basically, he's just a very good teacher, and he has a passion for video game law and law in general that he tries to convey to students. And he's just very nice and approachable. And we had a lot of fun together. Every week he would take us, not us, just the whole class, to the pub after class. I don't know if I could say that or not, but
I was about to make a joke to a pub because I thought you're gonna say take us to a video games library or I don't know to a Hyde Park, but
No.
okay, yeah. I mean, he's that sort of a teacher. Good. I wish I had teachers in the college that would take us to pubs. Yeah. Well, so Barcelona is not bad too, right? You've got this current modernization of the city, lots of bicycle lanes and everything. So you're a bit ahead of the curve. And speaking of bicycles, I think, Emmanuelle, you're coming, I mean, you have a bicycle up there, and you're coming from the city where the mayor is very successful at converting the streets, right?
Yeah, that's true. I'm from Paris, but I'm not in Paris right now. I'm actually in the mountains, just wanted to take some time away from the city. So I'm Emmanuelle, but I usually just go by Emma. I graduated from the Queen Mary University of London LLM. Before that, I did a master's degree at Strasbourg Law School in IP as well. And I'm currently working as a trainee at Allen & Overy in their IP litigation department of the Paris office. So we're fortunate to be working with a lot of video game issues. And yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm trying to find balance between working and gaming, and that's about it.
Well, I mean, what more can you ask for a team to be based in Barcelona, London, and Paris? All of them are great cities. It's hard to say, which is the best. I mean, even I was about to say which one is more expensive, but probably these days it's the same. Yeah, I mean that's pretty amazing. So the other two teams that we profiled before, they're more of like mono-ethnic. So we've got a Serbian team and we've got a Polish team, and we refer to them as the And we couldn't find out how to refer to you guys because we also have the UK team, which we profile tomorrow, which is UK, it's British. But yeah, I guess we'll call you the international team. That's pretty much as close as it gets to the games industry. So I think we have the special guest already on the line, so we'll get him, and then we'll. Minderg, can we get our mysterious guest joining?
Yes.
I think one of you may know him, but maybe not. But maybe I think one of the firms is actually doing business. Oh, very nice of you to put your company in. Could you flip the phone a little bit?
Hello.
Guten Tag.
Hello.
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 Good to see everyone.
Good to see you too. Yeah, can you flip the phone? Is it possible to do it?
Hang on, I can technically do that. I'm not sure if it makes me look better.
I think we saw a bottle of Coca-Cola, but outside of that, it's all good.
Okay, so this is all the glamour and excitement that the games industry gives you.
Could you introduce yourself and what exactly do you do and what is your connection to the games industry?
Yeah, so my name is Jan-Peter. I work for Valve. I am essentially the European office. So I'm, I guess, General Counsel Europe, but I'm also Valve's, I don't know, janitor. So I am a person that wears many hats, and I try to be also some kind of liaison person for people on the European continent.
So here we have a team which is called Queendom Hearts, and they are the international team. So all of these guys, they come from London, Paris, and Barcelona. Which city personally would you agree to move in between the three? With the family, including kids?
I know my wife is very partial to Spain, so Barcelona might be at the top of the list. You know how it works in families.
All right, I mean, sure. And I think there's like every 3 months there is a new studio being set up in Barcelona by larger international games companies. Yeah, I don't know what the tax regime is. We also are in the same position. Like every month we have a new studio opening in Vilnius these days, over the last 6 months or so. And we'll have, I think, close to 700 games developers moving just this year alone to Vilnius. So that's a big strength. But we're not Barcelona. So definitely, you know, if we could be Barcelona. Good. So what would be your advice, dear Jan-Peter, to young lawyers who are interested in the games industry and who would like to be more involved with the games industry? Because this position exists where there's too many people who want to do it and not enough to hire. So everyone is hiring, but no one is landing a job for some time. And especially for the in-house positions. Like, how do you guys hire people in-house?
I mean, you guys have obviously taken an excellent first step in taking part in this. Yeah, and I mean, I'm only half joking. Like, I know multiple people from previous iterations of this who now work in the games industry. So it is actually a great way to interact with people. Like, I don't know, give not just the jurors, but if you make it to the event in Vilnius, also the attendees a chance to get you to experience you in person, get across that you are out of the large pool of highly qualified law school graduates. You also have a certain degree, I don't know, ability to communicate, but also curiosity to be involved in novel challenges and interesting questions. That's at least what, like, I've always been thinking of myself as a gamer, but being able to reach some kind of high score is not exactly the core competency you need to look for. In fact, like, even if I talk to folks at companies where it's really expected of everybody in the company to be really skilled at the games that they issue. Riot. It's always the lawyers, they get a pass. Like, you can get away with playing few video games in the video games industry. But you need to be curious and willing to take on challenges that are not provided in law textbooks and much less in legal code, because the games industry is a novel medium. We're very willing to give up control over what we do. Like, if you look at all the other creative industries, it's always very author driven. Like, there is this central person that decides what is like the artistic expression, and in the games industry it's expected that our players shape part of the experience, and that informs a lot of things that are unique to the games industry when it comes to user-generated content, modding, just the way that we are willing to engage with our audience. But we've also been very much at the forefront of new technology like digital distribution, which feels old at this point, but still many other industries haven't really gotten through it. So yeah, I mean, it's just an exciting field of work. to be in if you're interested in, like, I don't know, sometimes explaining stuff to an aging judge that they have never interacted with in their real life.
Well, I mean, we had Rafael as one of the guests on the earlier team presentations, and we'll upload all the recordings. I mean, we uploaded them, but we'll share them.
Sorry, you're breaking apart for me. Sorry, could you repeat that?
We had Rafael, whom I think you pretty well know from CD Projekt Red, and he was explaining that his expectations of in-house consoles is to look at what is required by law, and then look at what the company wants to do, and then kind of find, you know, I was even expecting him to say, and then find a way to break the law. Well, he didn't say that much. He's, you know, Google probably would be in that position, saying like, you know, just go forward and then fix the damages or whatever is happening. Yeah. So, but he's quite concerned in on the subject of privacy. He was concerned in like making it in a human language. So sure, following the guidelines, but also being understandable by your players, which is a huge challenge because you can, you know, pull a wall of text and that's it. And so let me ask the team what they think is the most exciting in the games industry. I mean, why not films or music? Or one of your colleagues that you know from the summit and I know from the summit, just today I saw the news that now they represent Roman Abramovich in the lawsuit based on the acquisition of Chelsea and some legal lawsuit in the UK and so on. So of course he will not comment on this, but so why not like go into that business and help rich billionaires, you know, sue other people? Could you guys like say, well, one thing that makes you the most interested in the games industry?
I can go first. I don't mind going first. So what makes me kind of very interested in the video game industry specifically is you drew comparisons with like other media, so like films, music. I guess video games have a specific place in my heart for IP because they're an interaction with everything. And if you think about video games, personally, I'm a massive person who's played games. I've played games all my life, pretty much 20 years. Massive gamer, basically. So for me, it was really interesting, especially when I went to do my masters, that I learned about video game law, I learned about IP, and I could combine my passion with video games with my passion with law, and I could see how, for example, massive Marvel characters at the moment are getting licensed in IP to go to Fortnite, for example. That's one massive thing that I'm considered with. I also wrote, or currently trying to publish, my dissertation on loot boxes, which I think is a massive area in the video game industry. So for me, video games and like that profession is so wide in the law. You're never going to have a day where you're just focusing on something really banal. It's so varied. It's such an interesting area. Whereas if I was just helping someone with a music suit, I'm pretty sure I'll get bored of hearing the same song after playing it about 1,002 times.
I'd say I'm in the same boat as Daniel. I'm also a gamer, and I think that when you are a lawyer involved in a big litigation and you only hear about that topic all day, every day, and you have to dive deep into it. And if you're not passionate about the product or the people you're working for, then it's awful. But if it's something that you truly believe in and that you personally enjoy even on your spare time, then it doesn't feel like work as much, but it's still work. I mean, people who say that if you like your work, you won't work a day in your life. I don't truly believe in that, but I do feel that if you like what you're working on, it's going to be easier for sure.
Well, in my case, I'm not a gamer by Emma or Daniel standards at all, but like they had to teach me what certain things meant about the case. And as to why video game law and not other mediums, I just think I'm interested in the collaborative aspect of it. You just don't deal with one person, which may or may not be, I don't know. I'm just interested in it. I can't say. Truly, I went to the LLM course not thinking at all about video games. I knew a little bit about it before, but just Dr. Dimitrev's presentation about his course just got me interested. And he said that, as Daniel said, you just touch upon a whole range of things that you wouldn't be able to if you go into trademark law or other types of law. So I don't know. That's why I like it.
I would say, I mean, from my side, we had different people on the summit. So some people who come to the summit, I think Tobias said that in the so Tobias was one of the other guests that you will see in the other team. I think he mentioned that there's this older generation of the games industry lawyers who are not gamers, who are not interested in the video games at all, who are just like, basically, I'm here to know the law, but I don't watch movies, I don't play games. And, it's like a restaurant, I don't know, specialist who doesn't really like to eat or like food or whatever. And that is changing. And now we have people who have first-hand experience. Maybe you don't have to play every day. You don't have to play every week, maybe. But what's important is to have this understanding and the passion for what it is, a video game, like how it comes together and what it shapes of. And at the summit, sometimes we get people who practice not only in the games industry, but also in different industries. And sometimes, because of the territory, because of the country, the video game share would be small or 100%. So, okay, some firms are lucky enough, or in-house consoles, of course, like 100% is game. But then there's some people who maybe 5% or 10%, and that's the video games thing. And sometimes, like, you feel, okay, there's not much difference between video games and sports law, right? You can feel passionate about the soccer team, getting successful, licensing stuff. But then after some drinks, some of the people, they start saying, like, okay, so, opening up the calculator, like, okay, video games, okay, well, you're still too small compared to the pharmaceuticals. So, kids, bye-bye. So, you can see that people are not really interested or passionate about what they do, but they are more interested in the scale, in the risk involved, in going into litigation worth $1 billion and not $1 million. And so, the games companies, to them, they seem, kids. What do you do? I mean, what's your argument? A few millions, with a few exceptions. Now, okay, that's a little bit changing, but still the pharma market, the sports market, the television market, I guess, is still like massive, deals and amounts. So different things are moved, like different people are moved by different things. But we found that the passionate people thrive better, in the sense of you're not getting bored, so you learn more, you become more knowledgeable, you become more able to contact the different people and, have a conversation at the table. So Jan-Peter, you've been in-house, for quite a long time, and you've been at a law firm before. What is the principal difference? Is it true that every law firm lawyer wants to move in-house? And most
only the ones with families. No, I'm kidding. The principal difference for me has been seeing projects through to the end. When you're an outside counsel, and I was an outside counsel, in fact, for Valve for 8 years, and I've been with Valve in-house for a bit over 8 years now. When you're an outside counsel, you're asked for input, and you provide them, like talking about compliance specifically, and for for transactions, it's a little different. But when it comes to someone wants to set up a new project, or says, okay, here is a new law coming around, or here is a new advertising that we want to produce, or here is a new, I don't know, edgy piece of content in a game. As an outside lawyer, you put together a nicely formatted PDF with a nice logo on top, and it has all your points written down, and you send it out into the ether, and you never hear about it until maybe, if you're interested in the product, later on you try it out, and oh yeah, they actually took over some of my suggestions. But you're not really part of the process to that degree. And as an in-house counsel, it's a I get some support here. What is saying? Oh, there's coffee and cake. Dankeschön. Thank you. So anyway, as an in-house counsel, you are part of those conversations, and you can defend your point, and you're much more expected to not just wear the lawyer's hat, but also keep the other factors in mind that inform the decision? Like, what is your relationship and the impact this has on your players, on your business partners? What are the technical constraints that you're under? And I find this, to be frank, much more interesting to not just have this single avenue of looking at things, but really be part of the entire conversation with the technical team, with the business team, with the UX people, and just be really involved in the entire process front to end.
But what about the opposite view, that as an in-house lawyer at a company which you know and I know very successful billion-plus valued studios that have no lawyers in-house. And sometimes they hire a lawyer in-house. You know, they can afford it. Okay, there is a room in the office. And that poor lawyer is just doing compliance and privacy and data protection and all that crap for days and days until, you know, quits and goes to a law firm or something. So you could also argue for the fact that if you're at a law firm, you go to battle. You're like a, you know, a soldier. You dress up, you go to court. Look at Tobias. He goes to like winning here, losing here, winning here, winning do. And as an in-house lawyer, you're just sitting with the studio and you maybe think like, well, maybe someone will sue us. No, okay. Well, not a great day. Okay, maybe tomorrow someone will sue us. So wouldn't you say that there is less boredom in the law firm in that sense?
No, not really. I mean, when you're in a law firm, typically you're more married to a specific field of law, right? I mean, video games law is a little bit of a weird concept because we're an industry, we're not a field of law. Like I used to be an IP lawyer, and yeah, today I do a broader variety of laws. Like I seek out specialists in their specific fields, whether it's, I don't know, tax law, or employment law, and data protection law, and all these things. And my field of activity has broadened when it comes to the field of law that I'm working in versus when I worked in the law firm. And if you look at, for instance, Tobias, like he is a video game lawyer, but he's mostly, I want to say, an IP lawyer and a data protection lawyer. And beyond that, I don't know, antitrust, you will say there's that guy in our law firm, and there's that guy, and he's more focused on the stuff that he's good at, which is fine. It can be fun to be the best in the world at the specific one thing that you're good at.
I think we lost you for a second.
Also, and you like law. I mean, for example, a variety of stuff you get to work on as an in-house counsel, I think.
Are you still with us, Jan-Peter? We lost you for a second in the audio, and the video frame is frozen. Mindaugai, if you could message Jan-Peter and check if he can maybe reconnect, or okay, he's gone for cake and coffee. Okay. Good. So you guys are all coming from different locations, and the international games companies are typically hiring from different countries, and then it doesn't matter where you come from as long as you know, professionally international. But every person brings some expertise. So if you yeah, okay, that's good. Yeah, thanks. So if you join, let's say, from China, then of course you'll be a part of this international in-house group. But whenever it comes to China, you'll be the person that the games company will go to and say, hey, go with us, be a part of the negotiation process, help us figure out what's going on. And I always thought that people really love, I mean, in the past, they were appreciative of some Russian background lawyers, because then they do a deal in Russia and at least the guy can help them navigate. And then it was the same with China, and probably the same with France. Like, I heard multiple times from bigger games companies that they would love to hire a French in-house lawyer, because France is so hard to get. So they want to have their own French person to go in and just say, like, no. You go, you do it. Because when you talk to normal, like, French law firm, it's hard to understand if they're pulling your leg or if this is how it is in France. So could you touch briefly on what local experience each of you brings. Let's say that next month you join a global international games company as a part of an in-house team, and there's a meeting on Monday, I don't know, Zoom meeting probably, with tea and coffee, and you introduce yourself and you say, I'm an international games lawyer, I'm gonna do like a variety of things in IP. Also, I can like help you with X in my territory. What is this X that is so special?
I think the reason why France might be a bit peculiar in IP is perhaps because of, you know, the very strong emphasis that we have on the author and all those moral rights, which are kind of strange things for people coming from copyright countries. And perhaps that's the thing that you need to be French to understand. Well, you need to have studied French law to get the grasp of where does it stem from, to what extent does it still apply today, because obviously when you speak about video games and you realize that you can't really have a company have moral rights, it just doesn't make sense, and you kind of have to understand how these very old theories apply today, and that's something that is perhaps more difficult for somebody who hasn't studied French law.
I'll go next. So I think my specialism would be, it's kind of like similar to Emma's, but then also opposite to Emma in a sense, because I've always had a common law background in the UK. So unlike France with its intellectual property laws, it's all coded mostly, and it's mostly civil law. Ours is based on mostly case decisions. So for my specialism that I could probably offer would be, well, how can you, because IP laws ever change in the UK, especially at the moment because of Brexit, which I'm finding out in the UK IPO at the moment, specifically in regards to how the Trademark Act, for example, will go forward, how copyright's going to go forward. And I think the specialism I could offer a games company now will be, well, how can you future-proof your company with your IP rights in the future, and how can you protect it in the UK economy at the moment? I think that's where my specialism is, as well as also having some knowledge, not as in detail as Emma, about French law, because I did cover it in my LLM slightly in copyright. So I think I've got a nice mixture, but mostly I can future-proof for kind of Brexit and what's happened in the UK with IP law.
I would say, just thinking off the top of my head, maybe, as Emma said, trying to interpret code and law that is old, very old, and also just the particular aspects maybe of local regulations, maybe to do with the language and how things in Barcelona work that are different from the rest of Spain, where, of course, you have to have stuff in the local language as well as Spanish, for example. That could be something that I could offer. I don't know. That's it, I think.
I don't know. Yeah, go ahead. You're muted. You're on mute, Jan-Peter.
I am?
No, Jan-Peter is on mute. I think you're saying something.
This is better. So also having come from a local background, like I'm obviously the only lawyer at Valve who comes from a civil law country. And I guess it hasn't hurt my getting hired by Valve that back in the days Germany was maybe the most aggressive at suing Valve. A good part of what value I can bring to the conversations is following the public discourse in my home country and in my home language. Not even so much like the historical things, but like what is going on today. Like how do I don't know, German publications react to the updates to the laws on the protection of minors? How do German what does German discourse, like where do legislative discussions go when it comes to online platforms? What are the things that are relevant to German language Reddit users, like even stuff like that. And I think it's similar for French and Spanish speaking lawyers, because it's just not super common for a US person, even someone who's pretty well educated, to have strong second language skills. And just having these this kind of direct access to conversations that are going on, and being able to put new laws and like conversations with the court in context is valuable. And when it comes specifically to knowledge about local law, I think understanding of civil procedure law is underrated. This is something that's very different in different countries. Like, how long does it typically take? Like, what kind of person, like, how does it work to be represented in front of a specific court? Like, what kind of impact does a barrister versus a litigator have, and a solicitor have, and the equivalents in other countries? Like, what does the appeals process look like? That's just something that's good to have the kind of background to, and that applies to a lot of cases, not just the one that you may have about, I don't know, can I assign my full copyright, or do I have to grant a license? Not to underrate that, right? It's a fundamental difference, but it's only one thing that I think should be seen in context of everything that you know about the place that you come from.
Wow, I mean, I totally forgot about Brexit. I know that before people were saying,
yeah, sure.
Yeah, it'll be good to have someone.
When did you last try to order something from the UK?
I canceled my order, actually. I ordered something in December, and they couldn't deliver it in January, and I used this to cancel the order, because there was also this little notice, like, here's 24 steps you need to take when you get your order, and you custom clear it, and, you know, whatever. Yeah. Sure. So I guess also people from Australia should be rated highly with all the recent decisions from Australia. If you follow what Michael shares on the Discord server, you see that the following Australian Discord, and you guys had a lawsuit in Australia, so that didn't.
Oh yeah, and I mean Australia is it's a good example of like needing to understand how different consumer protection entities function in the context of a given society, which is it's very different from country to country. I mean, in France we had UFC Choisir, and we need to understand what is their driving motivation, and like how does this work compared to something like the VZBV in Germany, or I don't know, the Better Business Bureau, and they all whether they're run by the government or whether they operate and primarily function by selling subscriptions for their magazines, it's very different in how they approach certain topics.
Cool. So before we sign off, which is going to be in a couple of minutes, I'm not going to ask you if you think this team will win or not. I mean, you know, I'm getting to the point where I wish every team would win, so we just have, you know, forwards and so. But I want to ask the guys, if you win, do you think it's because of what? And if you end up not winning, then do you think it's because of what? To give you some examples from the previous challenges, some people lost, or it's my personal opinion, but I felt that they lost because they got confused in the middle of the presentation. So they had this argument, and then the judge just blew it up, and they were like, and you could see the judge panel thinking, okay, you know, that was it. Some people were just not following they were addressing the arguments that the other part didn't raise. So it felt like they're not really in the court. I mean, you don't go to the court and say, oh, by the way, dear judge, you know, those guys, they should have asked me this, and then I would answer this because I prepared it overnight. So they felt that they were too much in the mood as opposed to the real life mood or something. I'm trying to remember some other things. Some people were just talking for a long time, like me. I would lose because of that. So what is, like, could you like look into the future, because you're going to be able to see this video after the hearings. It'll be fun to see. So if you win, why? If you did not win, I'm not saying lose, but let's say, I don't know, second place, the third place, why? give us one reason for you personally.
I think if we win, because we are going to win, of course, it's because coming from, from different countries, from different legal backgrounds, we had to deal with really different philosophies of law, especially since this case is a lot about contract law, and we had really different opinions about how to deal with these contractual issues. So we took into account various theories to shape a really solid answer, I believe. So if we win, it's because of that, I think.
When you win.
When we win, exactly. Thank you.
And if somehow the judges make the mistake of not declaring you the winners, then why do you think that would possibly happen?
Maybe if the other team just comes up with something that we just comes up with something out of the blue and it just shocks us. We can't answer to it. Hopefully not, but maybe because of that. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Daniel?
So I don't know. I think one of our strengths, is being able to think on the spot. So I'm one of those people who are kind of, especially as I'm doing the barrister practitioner course in the UK at the moment, I've learned a lot about hope for the best, prepare for the worst. So I think that's where Emma and Danae, both from my experience, have been able to think, well, what would the other side argue? And I think if we do win, or when we do win is probably the better way of putting it, then that's why, because we're able to think, well, 3 steps ahead of our opponent, and we've already anticipated that argument. I think the reason we may lose, if we ever do lose, is going to be on the basis that we just probably had a bad performance on the day, and that's, I guess, is what our argument would be, or that some judge intervention is so in detail and that we haven't looked at that area of law similar to what Danae was indicating, then that may be an option, but I'd be very surprised if that did happen.
All right.
Worried this video is not going to age well.
Well, I mean, so the purpose of the video is to give the other teams a glimpse into yourself, so you'll see the other teams as well. It's also depending on the day and how it happens. Some of the presentation videos are better and some are not as good. Like, I think me and Tobias hijacked the previous presentation, which I really feel sorry for. But you start talking to a heavy metal fan from Germany, and you end up like that.
Don't get him started on soccer.
He did devote a part of that video to smoking, so we have, we covered all the topics. But good. So thank you very much, guys. Thank you, Jan-Peter. Vielen Dank. And we, of course, wish you all the best. Like to every team, may the best team win. It's going to be in less than a month. So, we'll see how this video ages. And maybe people will go back and see and try to guess, like, this is what it takes to win. Maybe they will go back and say, I told you. I mean, rewind to 23rd minute and see. And so there. Yeah. Good. Thanks very much.
Great meeting you all.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
And make sure drink some tea with this guy when you meet him in Vilnius in September, if you all get vaccinated in time and the South African strain doesn't cancel that out or something. We'll see. All right. Thank you. See you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.